I'm giving all of my villagers every single one of the most negative traits they can have, setting their stats as low as they can go, then sending my lone starting colonist out naked and with nothing to their name in the middle of winter. Welcome to the Impossible Run. I'll be playing to survive, not for aesthetics or for a nice and happy colony. This is a very serious run. Timmy thinks he's getting a small fire. That's ambitious. The world comes into existence around him, and he finds himself freezing, starving, exhausted, and with a rapidly worsening mood. And that's just a small part of what makes this so difficult. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute, but for now, a quick survey shows the area around us looks pretty good. Lots of nearby berry bushes, some clay, and some mature trees to chop down. Timmy will get started ignoring that first one to focus on mushrooms, felling that third one, then using the second one to build a small hovel. So far, this isn't that different from a normal run. So what's the big deal? Negative traits on their own aren't too bad. They each decrease your work speed, mood, movement speed, or other stats. They certainly aren't game-changing on their own. But while one blow to a settler's mood can be ignored, stacking the 3 traits that all reduce your mood mean that your colonists are going to constantly be rebelling. Moving a bit slower might not matter that much in a normal game, but when hypothermia looms and you're frantically trying to get a room in a fire, that and your slow work speed ensure that doom lurks around every corner. But survival mode doesn't care about any of that when it's determining what it should hit us with. When Timmy and any future friends get raided, they're going to be hit by a truck, outnumbered and outgeared. It's going to be so great. For me and for you, not for Timmy. Timmy is in for a bad time. At least some food is helping his mood, kind of. He's not that big on eating raw food, but he does like it more than starving. His mood target, which is where this bar will settle given enough time, is up to 19%. 15% and below means that he'll rebel, and if it hits 0, he'll abandon the colony, and that means a game over for now. Wanna guess how many rebellions we're gonna have by the time this whole video ends? Got a number in mind? The answer's probably higher than that. You can see how low skill is affecting him. Not only is he incredibly slow at even basic tasks like chopping wood, but when he does finally get it down, he gets fewer resources from it. For now, he's gonna keep chopping while I set up a little base. And actually, base might be too generous. I'm going to set up a small hovel. If you've seen my video on efficiency, you'll know why that starts with a stockpile before we actually start building anything. Cough, cough. I'll set this one to take only clay, and then make another one that only takes wood. Once Timmy has finished chopping the tree down, I'm going to set him to prioritize hauling before building, and then let him get to work. Timmy is already suffering from the cold, and he's only existed for half a day. When it gets to nighttime or later in winter, it'll get even colder, and the effects will be even worse. But I'll put a bed in before I put walls in, so that he at least has somewhere to sleep instead of just resting on the ground. Night arrives as Timmy gets to work building all of the walls. Physical ones. He clearly isn't putting up any mental ones, just check his mood. He's got enough wood and clay to put in a brazier, and he's passed out for the first time. Right now he's sleeping, but a second ago, he was unconscious because of the hypothermia. And then, in the morning, he starts to rebel. While rebelling, colonists will ignore work and any restrictions set to them for their food or other scheduling. In this case, he's choosing to convalesce, even though I told him to focus on his work. Although honestly, this isn't that bad. Convalescing means that his health is going up and he's sleeping some. This is sort of just a long, angry nap. Rebelling could be much worse in the future though, if it happens during raids, or if he decides that he wants to just wander out into the cold and die. The brazier construction bug though. When a settler passes out or rebels while building something, the item gets bugged and progress gets stuck at 0% even if they try to come back to it and keep building it. You have to cancel and redo it, which unfortunately wastes the time that he'd already put into building it. Another night, another bout of unconsciousness from the cold. He wakes up a little later, and because he convalesced through the day and because he just passed out, Timmy doesn't need to sleep more, which means he can actually do some work, even though he's freezing to death. Yeah, sure, just walk outside, then build the wall to lock yourself out. Good idea, Timmy. The roof starts going in as we make our first room proper. It'll be... darn it, that's unfortunate. It'll bug the roof out, which means that we're not inside just yet. At least he's spending his time eating and convalescing. He does eventually stop angrily resting up to angrily pass out instead. More hypothermia is hitting. His temper tantrum finishes early the next morning, and then he puts the roof in that he should have put in last night. That means that he now has a bedroom. Although for now, he's fine on sleep, so he'll ignore his new room and instead put a brazier inside. It works, and now the inside's a toasty temperature. That'll help heal off this hypothermia, although he is going to need more food soon, which will involve constant trips out into the cold. To save resources, I'll be making sure to light fires with only sticks. Wood is really precious for us. Our next goals require more wood. 2 trees worth. That's 1, and that's unfortunate. Not surprising, but unfortunate. One more tree then, though I'm going to cancel that as soon as I started. I really don't want to risk the cold for too— yeah, that's why. He's passed out. Too slow on getting inside. This traveling merchant should really just be a good Samaritan and drag the unconscious man he stumbled across back to the warm fire inside. Timmy recovers before the merchant can be a hero though. He stumbles back to his hovel, but before he can convalesce and recover by the fire, he passes out again there. I really don't think we can afford anything from this trader, but I've been wrong at least twice in my entire life. So Timmy's gonna play Ring Around the Rosie with the merchant just to find out that he is in fact super poor. At least Timmy can snub that rich Rockefeller by showing he's a man of the people. Only real men can do that. Yeah, I deserve that. Timmy can handle chopping down a second tree without passing out from the cold, but not without rebelling, and then going home to sulk and to heal. The merchant doesn't even come in to offer a consoling word. He comes here, sees our poor hovel, and is happy to say, yeah, just pay 80 gold for some sharp sticks pointed up. Then he pieces out when Timmy gets pissed. Actually, that's super understandable. Whatever. That's enough healing. Timmy can get back to chopping. One more tree needs to come down successfully. Come on, I believe in you, Timmy. I don't believe in you at all. You useless, skillless. As always! Perfect, Timmy! And now our research table can go in. Please don't fail this. Nice. Now we can immediately start doing research. This will give him something to do when he's inside and recovering from the cold. I'll throw down a stockpile and a bit of flooring for the books so that they don't degrade. And then I'll send him out to get a little bit more food. It's not super early. It's not too cold. I mean, relatively. He's only a few berries short of having enough to cook into a meal, which, given his awful cooking skill, actually loses out on nutrients. The nearby bushes won't give us enough though. I'll go for some further ones. Cooking a meal turns 12 berries, each worth 30 nutrients, into 3 meals, each worth 95. But it means no mood hit from eating raw food, so it's really worth it. Trying to go to the far bush after staying out in the cold to harvest the nearby too was just a little bit too greedy though, and Timmy passes out. God, even getting to the far bush is difficult like this. The first potential colonist arrives, but they'd be followed by a few raiders, and we don't even have weapons yet. It's still kind of tempting because they are a great colonist. I mean, great by Timmy's standard. We'd be taking their skills down to 0. Yeah, unfortunately, I think I have to say no. This would double the food requirements that we're already having issues meeting, and the raid would destroy everything he has, even if this new pair managed to kite the enemies out and avoid death themselves. There's 10 books done. Now we can unlock absolutely nothing, because the first tech requires 15 books. God, I'm good at this game. Another attempt to get some food ends in more rebellion. While he sulks, I check the nearby berry bushes, but there really aren't that many. The ones we failed to get to last time are still the closest. Well, Timmy's at least warm now. Let's give it a go. I think he's gonna pass out again. There's no way— hey, he did it. Come on, let's go. Let me haul— I need a stockpile for food. After putting one in, now I can immediately tell Timmy to haul these home. The cold's settling into his old bones and he's hobbling like mad. Is he gonna make it? Yes, he will. Timmy can do some research to warm up. I really want to move to cooking meals to try and avoid these constant rebellions, but I just can't amass the vast wealth of 12 berries we need. God, what a sad state of affairs. I can tell him just to not eat for a bit, right? He's fine on food for now. I mean, not really, but that's not gonna stop me. And he's had enough warming up too. He can go back out and harvest the other bushes. They don't have a full set of 8 berries, but they do have something. We have 7 right now, this should be 10. It's actually 9 because of his low skill. I think that means I'm going to have to go to the far set of bushes again just to harvest the half-grown berries there. Timmy warms up, then makes it out and harvests the first, but it's not enough, so I tell him to go for a second bush. It's a huge risk, which honestly sounds kind of sad. Timmy manages to haul it back and make it inside. Barely. He literally got inside and passed out in the doorway from the cold. But all this worked, and now he's still just barely short. He needs to harvest those 2 more bushes. Oh, and he's so cold and close to passing out that he's too slow to do it. He can go back inside, and he's starving. Well, he's not gonna have 12 for meals. Timmy's about to rebel and eat raw berries anyways, so there's no reason to try and wait for them. I'm gonna let him try to eat and stave off rebellion. Nope, there it is. Cool. Cool. More convalescings in the future. I think things will get a little bit easier if I can make it out of winter. No cold means no freezing and no passing out when I step outside for more than a few seconds. That means I can harvest trees and get some crops going hopefully. For now, the cold keeps us inside and researching. I can unlock architecture, but not much else. Wooden weapons are the next step, but we're gonna need a ton of wood for that. That means it probably isn't happening until spring or at least late winter when the weather starts to warm up a bit. All the daytime resting away means that Timmy can head out at night, although every trip does end in him passing out inside. Timmy is not having a great time at all. I kind of wanted to have some sort of internal stairs that I could use to descend and mine the nearby clay underneath the ground without weathering the winter, but it's so late into the season, and we're just so low on space that that's not happening. A lack of space doesn't mean we can't unlock weaponry we won't have the wood to actually make for a while though. Without much else he can potentially do, Timmy ends up doing more research through the winter, and a bit more harvesting food. The food stock is just barely healthy enough that I think we'll make it out of winter. Barely. Let's try getting some more. That's about what I expected. Although in his defense, he really hasn't messed that much up. There's been a couple of trees, but I think that's the first berry bush that's failed, which is honestly pretty good. I'm giving him a lot of crap, but he's been doing a good job so far. Our food is actually starting to rot? Oh, that means the berry bushes are actually growing. Winter's almost done, which means that it's starting to warm up. And speaking of warming up, that snow's gone for at least a little. Is Timmy gonna survive? Have we done this? This means he can start chopping trees to try and get the 130 wood he's going to need to make a weapons table and a bow. But snow returns while he's only at 95, so that's not happening just yet. I have enough books to unlock the next technology, but nothing's standing out yet. Tailoring would be nice for summer clothes, but I'm not even close to having the kind of textiles I'll need to make them. The snow fades again. Food starts to rot, which isn't great, but it does mean the berry bushes nearby are producing food, which is pretty nice. This is the best time to work, so of course he's now rebelling. At least I can see where the grass is and plan my base a little bit more. Eventually I'll have my food on the left here, so a workshop would go... Where's the iron? Up there. Okay. So the first wall on our second building goes in a little like this. What a beautiful feat of architecture. Being a little drowsy won't stop Timmy from continuing to put in more walls to the second building. Plus a few spaces to... Okay, being sleepy can't stop us, but rebelling can. It's okay, it's warm out. He's survived the winter. He deserves this. He's fine though. Well, actually, he's not. He's starving. Is he going to die while he throws a temper tantrum? Timmy's pissed about how I'm treating him, but he's doing an even worse job on his own. Okay, where's the nearest set of berries? There's some up here. Come on. He can't die here. Please don't die of starvation literally hours before spring. Let's go. It's not even close. It's so easy. Why are you worried? You're so silly, viewer. It's not even close. You're worried over nothing. Relax. Chill. See? It worked. It wasn't even close. It's not even close. Alright, Timmy can finish harvesting these and haul them back. That should actually be enough to cook our first meals too. I'll put a campfire in here, and with that, spring. We had a couple close calls. Just a few. Really tiny ones. It was fine. Now to actually cook, he needs 12 red currants and a stick. A single stick. Our ongoing building is going to need more clay, but it's easy to go mine more out right now. All these nearby red currant bushes mean that I don't have to set food up for a while. I just need wood, honestly. So much wood. Timmy disagrees though. Timmy needs to rebel. I'm gonna stop talking about that, I promise. You get it. Every day he spends about a third of the day pissed off. When he's done with his mood, he can build a bowyer's table. Wait, he's exhausted? He partied so hard that he refused to sleep, even though he's exhausted and almost passing out. Dude's specifically spiting me at this point. Timmy's moving a little slow, but this isn't the cold. It's that his path is littered with litter. Look at that form. No one's ever done a better job, and I have complete faith in this. See? Easy. I'll queue up a short bow immediately. He ends up making a plain sturdy bow though. Not the worst, but not good either. His awkward, unskilled hands won't be very good at shooting it. Next up is a beam in the workshop for a second floor. It'll go in the middle. Well, it would go in the middle if the interior wasn't 8 spaces on either side. Now I have to construct this monstrosity like it's okay and not eating away at my soul every time I see it. The stairs up to the second floor are actually going to go outside. That might change in the future, but for now, something like this is going to be the best bet. Oh, but it's not getting made from good wood. This can get made from shoddy, ugly clay. Building everything from this stuff hurts my eyes, but wood is just too valuable of a resource to use on something like this. With that in, I'll put the second story on. This is actually going to be the base of our defenses for now, although it's not much of a second story just yet. I don't need too much space. The bowyer's table already counts as having a roof above it, so that's all he needs, so the rest gets cancelled. Oh, Timmy's finally got the first partner that he can actually take, Boyden. No raid afterwards, which means we're definitely going to have him. Boyden starts low on health, exhausted, starving, and with every negative trait, just like Timmy. More importantly, he's only a year younger than the 70-year-old grandpa we started with. Nice. Funnily enough, Boyden came with the same kind of short bow that we just spent so long investing in and making. Even though Boyden's melee is 21 and his marksman skill is literally 0. He's still got some useful stats, so let's get rid of those. I can use dev tools to give him negative experience, which zaps his skills away. Dementia really does hit it suddenly. Like Timmy, Boyden's going to get to keep the minimums his background gives him. That leaves him with a melee of 17 and a cooking of 10. He also gets to keep his passions because I can't figure out how to get rid of them, and I'm not going to manually count them and zap that extra experience away every day. I love myself too much to keep track of it. Plus, this is honestly going to let colonists have a little bit more diversity and purpose instead of just being carbon clones of each other. Insisting they only be defined by their backgrounds is refusing to allow them to change. And what is going medieval about, if not change? Castles, defenses, villages, surviving? I'll set Boyden to only eat meals he doesn't have access to while he's starving, realize that they don't have enough red currants to make more, watch Timmy rebel instead of helping, then swap around stockpiles while Boyden rests. They do need another bed, although there's no hay on the map just yet. Unfortunately, this is a society that does not value healthcare. Boyden can just get up and go make himself a meal. He's going to be our botanist and chef eventually anyways, so this is good practice. Stalling all this time means that he's a little close to death, but it's only a tiny bit. He's just inching that way. And honestly, almost starving is a great introduction to this village. I'm gonna have him harvest a ton of stuff. Progress. Watch them work. Well, you might have to watch them for a while if I didn't edit it out. It takes Timmy years to actually mine anything. There's still no grass on the map to make another bed, so Timmy passes out right then and there, and continues working early in the next morning. Alright, change of plans. This is taking too long. They're gonna make the shrine out of wood instead of stone. I try to have Timmy go on a hunting trip to get some food and to train his marksman skill up, but it goes poorly. He misses shots, they run away, I try to micro him to help, but they keep running away so fast that it's just impossible to make progress on their health bar. And with Timmy as hungry he is and as close to rebellion as he is, I'm giving up early. Yay, surrender! With as much wood as they have, I'm gonna put in a backgammon table. They'll like that. And speaking of liking things, dropping the video one if you're enjoying this kind of content both tells me to make more of it and helps the video out a ton. It looks like they're gonna be fine on food, so the next main goal is clothes for summer and defenses for the inevitable raid. Clothes mean leather, and with 2 colonists, they actually have a chance of getting a kill. I'll draft both up and send them off after wolves. Unlike deer, which run away when attacked, wolves will actually attack back. I said wolves will attack us back. Timmy draws their ire and starts running around. Go ahead, save him, Boyden. Prove your worth. Don't do something silly like leaving Timmy to die so that you can inherit his hovel. It's honestly not worth it. Alright, there we go. Now I need to put in a butcher's table. Goodbye, Timmy. Alright, what would a kitchen look like here? I think it'll go about here, and it'll be... That's a little too small. One more space. Perfect. I set their sleep schedules to alternate to avoid any potential issues with only having the one bed. Looks like Timmy isn't the only one who rebels. They're both acting out together, although Timmy quickly realizes what a bad look it is when he sees Boyden doing it and immediately stops. That did bug the backgammon table out, but I can reset it and Timmy does a good job. Even when rebelling, Boyden's down for some backgammon. Alright, well, now that they have some entertainment, Timmy can work on getting more clay for the kitchen area. More progress. These two are going through food so fast though. They have a few sets of meals still, but doubling our colonists has really impacted how often I need to tell them to harvest berries. Angry Timmy is enjoying entertainment, while Boyden cuts up the wolf. We only get 11 leather from it. Oof. 2 summer outfits means that we'd have to kill and harvest 8 wolves. And 16 for winter outfits, and each only gives 15 meat too. That's not even 2 days worth of food. I think they're gonna have to focus on hunting only the nearby deer, which give way more resources. A woodworking bench goes in to make melee weapons for Boyden when the raids eventually come. Timmy's starting to have a decent construction skill. Hopefully that somehow magically translates to making that spear. I mean, it's just a pointy stick, right? It's not that hard. He has good carpentry too. Flawless. Flimsy. That's still gonna go on the second story though. There's finally enough wood to finish the kitchen with doors and a roof. And with the second bed, I can put them both on a normal sleep schedule again. I'm still keeping an eye out for deer, but there aren't any that have come nearby this entire time. It's halfway to summer, and I don't want to suffer from heat stroke. I shouldn't prioritize this kitchen being inside yet. I can't even put the shelves in to make it work better, so this is sort of a waste of time. What should I be working on? I think a shrine. That'll give us some good move buffs and help with the Speak of the devil. The shrine can be simple. A basic 3x3 will work for now. Oh, the actual shrine piece is only 2 wide, not 3. You know, I know I said I wasn't going to focus on looks, but I'm making everything even worse than it needs to be. Research unlocks furniture and decorative structures. It's actually an amazingly useful technology. I really underrated it when I first started playing, but those wall mounts give every production room a 20% speed buff. And in this case, I need more wood for the Church of Restitution decorations. They're what'll turn this shrine into a full-on church. Next up is bedrooms. I resisted doing horrible rooms in my previous runs, but I'm not affording that now. They get tiny cramped apartments that make the tiniest studios in dense urban hellscapes look like a mansion. This is a literal bare minimum 3x1 room for a bed and nothing else. A merchant arrives to mock us with an amazing longsword there's no way I can afford, which is really a shame because Boyden's great skill means that he would mow people down with this thing. But while Timmy and Boyden are poor, they're rich in something? Probably. There's enough wood to put in beds in the bedroom for now, though. Oh, these require a skill of 10. So do the shrine decorations. Timmy's only 8, so it's not too far off. A few days at most. God, these are the worst rooms I've ever made. I'm covering my screen up for the rest of this recording so I don't have to see them. You'll have to suffer though. Well, Timmy needs more experience, which means more floors. They do need to go in eventually anyways. Colonists need more food though. Oh, an earlier command to harvest caught some flax and some barley. I don't want... Actually, flax would be nice. It would mean they don't have to hunt for leather as much. I've given up on summer clothes at this point, but winter clothes are an absolute requirement. The flax will need to get planted soon for that, though it's not quite as high a priority as securing more food. Boyden can work on that while I unlock agriculture and start putting in flax fields. Looks like there's only going to be about 3 harvests before winter. That's workable, probably. Speaking of, summer arrives. The high temperatures would rot food, but the village doesn't have enough for that to be a problem. Yay? Take that, game design. More rebellion, more time passes. Timmy is almost 10 construction, but I'm struggling to think of other building work we need done. Another colonist arrives. No raid either, so I'll take him for sure. Feeding 3 colonists might be a bit rough, but getting more work done is probably worth it. Oh god, I'm gonna have to say that whole name. Etheldreda? And that's how I'm pronouncing it. Etheldreda has all the negative traits, and I zap her skills down to nothing beyond the tiny bit of research she can remember how to do. Her passions are good though. Double star in research, double star in smithing. That first one is going to help the village get to the point where the second one actually matters. This will mean a 3rd bedroom and more meal production eventually. And now we're going to need to harvest and cook 12 berries a day. Hey, Boyden turned 70 just like our boy Timmy. It's 2 old farts and Etheldreda. Although Boyden did spend his birthday sleeping on the ground. That's kind of rough. Either way, she can focus on mining and research instead of plant work. Leave that to Boyden so that he can skill up. I'll offset their sleep schedules so that others can literally sleep at her feet while she works very, very quietly. I also need to expand the fields a bit to make sure that we have enough linen for everyone's winter clothes. And speaking of bigger, the Great Hall can start to go in to train Timmy's construction skill. He's so close to being a great builder. I just had to compliment him. And with food in his belly, there's 10 construction. Screw the rest of this stuff. The Great Hall is a long way off. Focus on the beds. First bedroom. Alright, I was way too early there. I'll just use the power of editing. There we go. First bedroom done. Let's go. Timmy moves on to the shrine and immediately goes back to sleep in the only bedroom he's made. Screw everyone else, I guess. He goes back to work the next morning and finishes off the church. That's gonna give us some further mood buffs. There's another bedroom knocked out, and the last one. Nice. He's an accomplished builder, although not enough of one to put some pointy sticks in the ground. That requires 15. Those mood buffs are starting to have an effect. Boyden slept in his own quarters, entered a church, and his mood target is now actually above 15 for once. Although further increases from here are going to be harder. Right now, he doesn't like his outfit, and he doesn't like that he doesn't have booze. Honestly, mood. I'll put in a sewing station that ends up being a really bad idea in a bit. I want to put in some barley fields for booze, but there's no one with a high enough botany skill yet. Boyden still needs a few more levels. The flax is starting to come up though. He'll also be our tailor, although he starts with a skill of 0. I should also start planting some trees for next spring. Another colonist is at our doorsteps, although this one is going to be followed by the first raid. These raiders are intense though. Survival mode does not pull punches. Still, I do think this is worth it. Stonehill is this new colonist. They get the same bad traits as everyone and the same lack of skill. They keep a smithing of 15, which would be great if we knew what smithing was. That's their only skill, which means that they're going to be doing hauling for a while. Food's going to be a real big problem with 4 colonists, assuming everyone makes it through the raid. Let's focus on that now. Stop gardening, stop digging, focus on making another bow for the new colonist, add another door to reinforce the entrance, then add some more floor and some more lawns to finish this defensive structure. If there's enough time, I'll make another bow so that Boyden can shoot before the enemies are close enough that he has to switch to melee. For now, he needs to make food. I want spare meals in case he gets injured in a fight and everyone has to heal. Please tell me Stonehill didn't just eat raw food because I forgot to set them to meals only. They did? Whoever's responsible for that really should get shot out of a trebuchet. I think this is all gonna get finished in time. Timmy makes another bow since the building is almost done. Since there's 4 archers, I'm gonna add in a Firth Merlon on every side. The raiders arrive and ouch, 12 of them on 4 of us. They're not even all weak raiders either. They have better gear, better skills, and more health. I assume. Honestly, their gear and skills can't be worse than ours. They'll come in from the west, and probably come up from that ridge. That's not too bad. Although it is kind of bad that they're attacking almost immediately. I could maybe go over there and get some free shots in, but our villagers move really slowly, and that could be dangerous. While I would love to kill a bunch and get their loot, I'm not planning on winning this fight. It's just not feasible. The entire goal right now is to stall this out and survive. That'll change as soon as I can actually fight them properly, but for now, stalling them out is the only realistic goal. I could cheat a little bit and live inside a small walled-off area with no doors, but I do want loot for the long term. I think this mixed approach is the best bet, while not being too cheaty with the inability to destroy walls. Our initial warning shots fail and more come in. Their archers are the main targets. I want to focus on the one with the longbow, and it works because he has no real armor. They fortunately stack up so that even our misses hit something, although we're the same way. I got really lucky that the raider hitting our door has a pitchfork or something else weak. They're barely doing any damage, and they're never going to destroy that door. The archer on archer fight is going pretty fine actually. Etheldreda is getting a bit low, but so are their archers. I'll pull her back and hopefully get her out of the fire so that she can stay alive. Their melee fighters destroyed our production buildings, but it's a small price to pay to survive here. Their first archer goes down, another follows suit. I thought we'd be missing more than we are, but this is honestly going just fine. I think a big part of why this is working is that the enemy on our door is the one with the pitchfork. Their last archer goes down. I think about who to focus to get their weapons, but the enemies run off before I get the chance to take any out. We technically lost the raid, but we didn't die. That's more than can be said for our production buildings though. That's some convenient timing on the merchants. Yeah, I'd love an affordable bow. Bring them right here. The strategy of sacking our base to the sackers worked pretty well, but it isn't sustainable. They destroyed hundreds of wood worth of production buildings, and that will only grow sharper over time. Plus, raids also get worse over time, which means that they're going to have more archers and start just murdering us. Ooh, Etheldreda took some big hits. Severed artery and pierced cheek. She needs to be laying down to rest while someone else heals her. All of our colonists have a medical skill of 0. I can't think of anything better than getting treated by someone who has no idea what a medicine even is. The merchants are here and they have a funny idea of what an affordable bow is. They don't even have any bows to begin with. There are some okay armor pieces, but they're all too expensive. I could go into research debt to afford it by selling some books, but that's not worth it. It's almost 30 blue books on top of all that gear just for one helmet. And I want the other imminent research more. Smelting, blacksmithing, and brick production. There will be more problems in the near future, especially concerning food headed back into winter, and we're honestly not in much of a better spot now than we were at the start of last year. This run is so much fun though. I seriously recommend that you give it a try on your own, and that you keep an eye out for the next episode.